Hey everybody, just doing the weekly newsletter here, working on some posts to share with you on my observing probably the last 3-4 trips. Be posting those hopefully later tonight or sometime this weekend, no later than Monday. So this is the Eadsy Astronomy newsletter for November 30th through December 6th, 2025. You can see I've posted a calendar of the moon phases. This week is, if we look at it, the moon's moving through its waxing gibbous phase, all approaching new moon, which will happen this Thursday, December 4th. Remember, if you're looking this week, probably tonight, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, you want to be looking right along the terminator, and probably want to use a moon filter. It's getting pretty bright. After Monday, I won't be looking at the moon too much. Definitely Wednesday and Thursday's out, so it's Friday for me from lunar observing. Haven't been able to get much lunar observing in myself this time. I chose to do an early morning observing session after the moon went down, and it's been cloudy the rest of the time, so hopefully I can sneak some time in. Anyway, we have a new moon coming up in 2 weeks from Saturday, so this next Saturday on the 20th there. So the week of the 15th through the 20th will be a good week for observing anytime after it, probably Saturday the 14th on. Some other things going on right now. November 30th, moon's waxing gibbous. It's over 75% illuminated. Continues December 4th is full moon. It's also a supermoon. It's the last supermoon of this year. It's also called the cold moon or beaver moon. It will be illuminated at 100% at 5:14 universal time. And then, of course, December 5th and 6th, Thursday and Friday, will move into the waning gibbous phase. But it will be staying pretty bright at over 96%, so that will impact some things that we talk about later in this broadcast. Like I said, it's the last super full moon this year, so you can do that. If you're going to observe the moon this week, the phases in this week offer different observing challenges and rewards. Basically, November 30th through December 3rd, the waxing gibbous. It's the best time to observe features with a telescope or binoculars as the terminator or the shadow line on the moon is moving across the surface, casting long shadows. It makes for the craters and mountains and Maria or dark plains to stand out really vividly. And you'll see that as we talk about sketching in another post. December 4th, the full moon. It's extremely bright. It's not a time really I look at it with a telescope. It makes surface features harder to see because it's just so bright. There's not a lot of shadows or contrast. It is a really good time to observe the bright streaks of material radiating out from large impact craters like Tycho and Copernicus. So you could spend some time looking there at that. Look at variations in brightness and color across the Maria is a good thing to do too. And then Friday and Saturday, the 5th and 6th, terminators on the opposite side, the eastern side of the moon. Craters that were previously in bright daylight will now be near the shadow line, offering excellent views of their inner structures, so you can go back to lunar observing. Some things coming on. November 30th, this Sunday, the moon passes 4 degrees north of Saturn and 3 degrees north of Neptune. You may be able to spot Saturn and its rings with a telescope, or even the faint bluish disk of Neptune near the bright moon. I actually got Neptune in this last week. Well, this week, I guess. December 6th, Friday, the moon will be in Gemini near the planet of Jupiter. The moon will pass by Jupiter over the following mornings and evenings, December 5th through 8th. And it will, as the giant planet retrogrades near the star Pollux, for another great sight to do that. Solar system observing, events going on in the solar system. We have visible comets this week. We have C2025A6 Lemon. It's fading. It's going from magnitude 10.1 to 10.6 this week. Magnitude 10, as I've listed here, does require a small telescope or large binoculars under dark skies to see. It's low in the evening sky after sunset. It's in Ophiuchus, and it will be setting relatively quick after darkness falls. Ophiuchus is basically gone a lot of times by the time I get out, so it's a real hard one to get right now. 10P Christensen, it's fading from 10 to 11 right now this week. It's in the early morning target on the low eastern horizon. You do need small binoculars to be spotted. providing you have a clear view from the horizon and a dark sky. I cannot see that one. The mountains to my east interfere with that one. Atlas, this is not the famous Atlas. This is C2025K1 Atlas. It's fading from 11.4 to 11.55, so you definitely need a telescope for that. It's circumpolar, so it's visible all night for very high northern latitudes. Here in Utah, if you're in Utah, you'd need to look in the northern sky for it. It's moving through the constellation Camelopardus. I can never say that one. And it does require, like I said, a telescope to see that. Remember, I put this here. You can go to Skyhound Chasing, Comet Chasing, and I put the link there. And I'll just click on that. And just as a reminder, really quick, so you can see it. That site will list all the comets that are available and that are viewable. Notice that comet C2025K1 has fragmented. It's splitting this into at least two main parts. And you can see images there. And these are the ones you can still see 3i Atlas. It's at magnitude 10.9. It's close, and you can see if you come down, you can find each of the comets that are listed here. And notice off to the side they have a finder chart that you can do as a finder chart, like if you wanted to go after 3i Atlas in the morning, which I did. Here is the finder chart. Here it is in Virgo, and you can see how it's progressing. They quite haven't updated it. So here's 12.1, 12. Having a hard time. 11:30, 12.1, 12.2, 12.1, 4 hours, 12.1, 18 hours. You can see how the comet's progressing out of Virgo. So anyway, that's available for you if you want that. And I've put the link there so you can see that. Visible planets. Jupiter's up in the early evening. It's rising mid-evening. It's visible for the rest of the night. It reached its highest point in the hours just before dawn. I had a wonderful view of that over the last week in my 17.5. Really dark sky, really just great scene. It just showed the red spots, probably the clearest I've seen it in years. Just tons of trillions, just the little waves that come off the belts and many belts. It was just a beautiful sight. It's shining brightly in the constellation Gemini. It's not far from the stars Castor and Pollux at the top of Gemini. The telescope view is fantastic time to see the cloud belts. You can usually see four of the moons nearby as it's approaching its opposition in January of 2026. Look for the Moon-Jupiter encounter around December 7th, where the moon will pass close by the giant planet. Be a good image and a good sketching opportunity. Saturn, it's visible in the early evening sky after sunset. Look for it high in the south or southwest. It's in the constellation of Aquarius. The rings are currently tilted almost edge onto Earth, less than 4 degrees. Looks like I need to correct what I was doing there. Send 4 degrees. Which makes them very, very difficult to see in small telescopes. Eventually, look, you can, if you're in a small telescope, it can look ringless right now. The moon will pass from Saturn during this week, just so you're aware of that. Uranus is available. It's in the evening sky after dark. It's in the constellation Taurus. It's just south of the famous Pleiades. It has that pale green look to it. You can see I've put the finder chart here. And this finder chart I'll just leave in the newsletter for a while because it does have the paths here. You can also get the link right here. And you can download the PDF here if you want it for yourself. So I've included the link. Neptune is the same thing. Its location is in the constellation of Pisces, very close to Saturn. It's at magnitude 7.9. You need a telescope for both these objects. And here's that finder chart link and the actual finder chart in the newsletter if you want to go after. Take a view of Neptune and Saturn, kind of close together there. It's kind of a good time you can get 2 for 1 there, so to speak. Constellations, deep sky objects. The winter hexagon is beginning to dominate the late night sky, even earlier in the evening, and you can see these patterns. Orion the Hunter is rising in the east. It's the most famous of all the winter constellations, I feel. It's easy to spot the belt. There are 3 bright stars in a straight line, Alpnec, Enelem, and Mintaka. Just down from them is the Sword. You can see Messier 42, both with the naked eye and especially with binoculars right now. Find the contrasting colors of the 2 main stars, Betelgeuse, which is up in the upper left, and Rigel, which is down in the bottom right. Betelgeuse will be that bright orange red, and Rigel's that bright blue white. You can make a really good contrast with that. Taurus is rising. Right now you can spot the beautiful V shape of the Hyades open cluster with bright reddish star Aldebaran there, making the bullseye. Don't miss Pleiades, the Seven Sisters, M45. Sparkling blue-white cluster. It looks like a tiny scoop. It's best in binoculars or a very small scope with a very wide field telescope eyepiece there. If you've ever seen a Subaru, that's their emblem, the Pleiades. So just a little tidbit there. Even under the bright full moon, the core cluster of the Pleiades is visible, so you can actually observe that even with the moon getting so bright this week. You have Cassiopeia, the Queen. It's the W constellation in this night sky. It can be a W, or sometimes it can look like an M if it's inverted in the northern sky. It's a great reference point and visible all night long. Perseus is another constellation just down from there, from Cassiopeia. As you work up from Perseus to Cassiopeia, you can spot the double cluster. The double cluster are two very bright open clusters. In a dark sky, you can see them naked eye, see them all the time. Binoculars bring them out, and a telescope with a wide field of view, great opportunity there. I actually like a smaller telescope on that with a wide field of view to really maximize the double cluster. Gemini is rising, the twins, in the northeast in the evening. It's two brightest stars. Castor is wider, Pollux is slightly yellow. See if you can see the difference between them. And Jupiter is just currently located, making it just down from them usually, and making it easy to find. Some other naked eye objects if you want to go after this week. Like I mentioned, Pleiades M45. And the Andromeda Galaxy is overhead, kind of up here, and then it goes to the west. It's fading to the west, going through zenith. It's the largest galactic neighbor we have. And under good dark conditions, you can see a faint, fuzzy, elongated patch. I was at such a dark sky this last week a couple times that you could actually make out just a hint of the core there, naked eye. The moon is, of course, fully illuminated, as the supermoon, as I've mentioned, is December 4th. On December 3rd or 4th, the nearly full moon will pass in front, occult some of the stars of the Pleiades clusters. Kind of unique thing to watch and see. You could observe that. You could also image that. Be a great opportunity to see something that's kind of just unique. Mercury is rising in the morning in the east. Look for it on the eastern horizon just before sunset. I had an opportunity to take a view of it. Did a sketch. I got to get that processing up. It's highest in the morning in sky around this time, offer the best chance to spot that planet. It's so close to the sun, sometimes it can get really hard to see Mercury. You can also use the free app Stellarium or Sky Safari to locate these objects. And looks like I need to update that. Do that really quick. Deep sky objects. The moon really interferes with deep sky observing this week. I'm not a big fan of too many deep sky observing this week, but I'm going to include some things that will be there, and you could look at that might shine through. M42, the Orion Nebula in the constellation Orion. It's located in the Sword. You can see it naked eye. Binoculars brings it out. Even with the moon up, you can still see that. M1, the Crab Nebula, is a fascinating supernova remnant from an explosion witnessed in 1054. It's just a faint hazy oval in a small telescope. That one I would probably wait until next week, to be honest with you. And then NGC 2024, the Flame Nebula, it's in the constellation of Orion. I just did an observation on that. It's an emission nebula located just east of the brightest star in Orion's belt, Alnikic. It requires a dark sky filter and is best viewed with a telescope. O3 filter on that, oxygen 3 filter really is good. You can try an H beta. I find it really dims it down, but I would wait for that until after the full moon's out of the way. You can look at this week M35 in the constellation Gemini. It is a huge open cluster. Again, use Stellarium to find it and locate it. It's easy spotted with binoculars as a fuzzy patch, and its telescope will reveal many stars if you're looking at it. The double cluster NGC 869 and 884 in Perseus, which I mentioned, and then NGC 2158 in Gemini. If you look through M35 in a telescope, just down below it is this much smaller and denser open cluster, and it has a milky haze around it in a telescope, and the stars are really condensed. It almost looks like a globular cluster, but I think it's one of the best images to see next to that beautiful open cluster of M35. It's actually one of my favorites to see. I saw a lot this last week. Some other binocular naked eye targets you got. Like I said, we always got the Pleiades. The moon is going to occult that on December 3rd and 4th, so look for that. M31 we've mentioned, the Hyades we've mentioned. And then they have M33 down. I would not go after M33 from a suburban area unless you're using night vision or something similar to that. Very, very, very faint spiral because it's so large. The light is spread out so much there that you really need to be in a dark sky without the moon up to see it. You can try to see these before or after, before the moon rises. I would actually wait until after this week to take a look at them when the moon's not up. Some other off-the-path objects that are becoming harder to find, and some I'll suggest this week. I'll keep them on here, and advanced users will probably be familiar with them, but they're worth mentioning. You can look at planetary nebula. It's okay under the moon. They're not great, but they're not bad. You got the Eskimo Nebula in constellation of Gemini. There's a challenge there to see if you can make out, they say the face here. I don't see it as a face. I can see the nebula with an outer structure and then an inner structure in it. You can see the Saturn Nebula. The challenge there, it's very bright. It's about it's about magnitude 8. Let's change that. And that's why I do this. 8.0, but requires magnification to resolve its handles. It has two little handles that come off that makes it kind of look like the rings of Saturn. And it's positioned in the early evening sky in the southwest. It's a great one. If you can't see it now, then maybe next week. But use an O3 filter on that, an oxygen 3 filter on that one. M40, the bow tie nebula in the constellation of Cepheus. It's a faint barrel-shaped planetary, and it's positioned high in the northern sky right now, almost at zenith. It requires a dark filter like an O3 oxygen 3 filter to see in a medium-sized telescope, so I'd say 6-8 inches. To clearly separate the central star from the surrounding haze, and it's listed as Caldwell 2. But with that, if you're going up with the O3, you can actually see the central star there. A planetary nebula, to remind you what they are if you don't know, these are stars like our sun that have gone and evolved through their evolutionary process. They have separated the outer part of the star. It has been blown off. It's created this beautiful nebula, and what's left at the core is usually a core about the size of the Earth, maybe a little larger. That's basically just carbon, white carbon. It's just hot, 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 and so hot that it lights up that nebula, the outer portions of the star that's been blown off. You can see that I've listed some things here. These are not things you want to go after necessarily this week. I'll keep them on there for next week, but I'll just bring them up to kind of get you in your head. If you're imaging, you might want to give them a try. The Running Man Nebula, I haven't seen a good image of that come across lately. NGC 1977. It's very close to M42. It's a blue reflection nebula. It's often overlooked. I've actually seen this visually. It requires a relative wide field of view and greatly benefits from being viewed on nights before the full moon rises high. This week, November 30th through December 3rd. Find Orion M42. It's in the middle, and the Running Man is just north of that. You can see the Horsehead and Flame Nebula. I went after that just on Thanksgiving morning, early in the morning, and I got both. I did a post on that. That's up. You can see that. It is not something you're going to see when the moon up. It's not something you're going to see visually from a suburban area. You got to be in a very dark sky. Aperture helps with this. So does an H-beta filter. Some other things, you have the compact galaxies, NGC 891, the silver sliver galaxy. It's in Andromeda. I've had this on here for a little bit. It's about magnitude 10.8. We'll get that fixed here. It shows a prominent dark lane down its center. I saw this about 2 weeks ago. That's the challenge, is to see if you can see the dark lane that's just to the west of the core in that one. They're great practice to do averted vision with and target identification. Recommend you check the rise and set times, and also the rise and set times of the moon. These may be the objects you want to do after the full moon this week. Some other things going on, news from the web. Of course, like I've mentioned, we had the last super full moon this week on December 4th. You have the moon oculating Pleiades on the 3rd and 4th. 3-eye atlas imagery is now up, and again, I just want to touch on this. This is really a pet peeve of mine. With all the hype out there and people trying to get people to do clicks and everything else like that and make money off this, 3-eye atlas is not an alien probe. It is not an alien ship. It is an interstellar comet that was formed before our solar system was formed. So it has different. It's made up of. The composite of what it's made up with is different than typically we see comets in our solar system. It's a great opportunity for astronomers and science to really learn about another solar system and an object from that solar system. That's the exciting thing with 3-eye atlas. Not that it's some alien probe and somebody's trying to put that out there just to make headlines and to promote maybe their own agenda, that they believe in aliens and we need to be careful of aliens. Not saying that we don't, but and I'm not saying that they're out there or not out there. Right now we don't have proof of anything like that, but this is not an alien probe or ship. It is an interstellar object that's passing through our solar system, the third one that we've identified, because our technology has reached the point that we can do that. Personally, I probably think you're going to find 12 to 15 of these come through on a pretty regular basis annually or every couple of years. I think they're probably more common than we think. It's just that we now have the technology to be able to find and actually analyze that. So again, if you're seeing stuff out there, don't fall for it, and definitely don't believe it. Follow the science on that one. Mercury's had its greatest elongation this week. It's on December 7th. It's just the day after next Saturday, so next Sunday, December 7th. It's there. And Saturn ring planes crossing analysis. So Saturn's rings really became edge-on, and in small scopes they look like they disappeared. It's kind of a cool thing to take a look at. It's a cool thing if you can image that or sketch that and share that. That's the newsletter for this week. I hope your skies are clear, they stay open. I hope you look up, whether it's naked eye, binoculars, telescope, imaging, however it is that you enjoy the universe. I hope that you take the time to reach out and connect with what's up there and realize how beautiful our universe is. Have a great week.